Hey guys, welcome to OMAD Diaries. This is Inigo. So I wanted to do this channel as some kind of accountability vlog where I'll try to post all that I'll eat in a day because I have about 80 to 100 pounds of fat to lose, a fitness goal to achieve, and I've been not that strict with myself lately. And I want to change that. As of this audio recording, it is June 6, 2022, which is coincidentally D-Day, and I figured why not try to raise the allies as well in trying to achieve my fitness goals. So from this point until the funny mustache man unalives himself 11 months from now on April 20th, I'll try to achieve my fitness goals by then. I'll do a physique update, and depending on how this vlog goes, maybe I'll even do a face review if you guys want that too. So here's the video. So for day one, I was thinking of something really basic, chicken and rice and a salad, except I also needed to clear out a few stuff in the refrigerators, such as half of a mystery meat turnover and this 100-gram braided bread thing with pesto. So that's just going to be a few more calories and carbs, is what it is. So I've come up with a system of marinating chicken that's more like a dry rub and brown situation, and instead of hammering down chicken titties, I just cut them up into strips against the grain so you get uniform pieces that are tender. It's a lot less mess to clean up. Cooking it is straightforward. I add some oil to the pan and fry them. Let me know if you guys want to see how I make them. Next, I pre-weighed about 250 grams of rice, which I will fry in the yummy, gunky stuff left behind by the chicken along with a bunch of garlic. It's called the fond. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I will be making garlic rice. When I say garlic rice, I mean garlic rice. I'm an adult. This is what I'm gonna do. Yeah, I did add some sriracha over later on it, but that's not really enough calories unless you drink the whole bottle. FYI. Lastly, we got the salad situation. I washed some and pre-soaked some old lettuce that I bought a couple of days ago for at least 30 minutes. Realistically, I soaked it in there, forgot about it, and then realized, oh yeah, I still have to deal with this salad thing. That rehydrates the lettuce and allows the dirt to settle down into the bottom so you can just pour it out and then spin dry the leaves later. Since I will be eating lettuce a bit later, but I also don't want to go down again to get it, I usually put the dressing at the bottom of the bowl, which does two things. Keeps the leaves fresher for when I'm gonna eat it. I'll just mix it by then. Gives me a good visual guide on how much dressing I put in, aka how much fat, aka how many calories. Also, I tear the lettuce into bite-sized pieces because I don't want to dirty another board and knife to cut it. And this isn't really a kitchen shear situation, so the unevenness of the tearing helps the leaves grab on the dressing. And that's dinner. Big plate of chicken and garlic fried rice and a big ass bowl of salad. Because I was also finishing up the rest of my alcohol stocks, because I'm not going to be drinking for a while, or at least that's the plan. Understandably, I ended up having the munchies there that night. So I made some salami and grilled cheese sandwiches on my panini press. By the way guys, sandwiches aren't the only thing you can make with these. Stay tuned for that, but for now, with the alcohol, this ended up just being over 3,000 calories. Without the alcohol, this was right about 2.1k calories. or rather 2,100 calories. Macros being 150 grams of protein, 178 grams of carbs, 90 grams of fat, and that was Monday. So here's Tuesday. Because the alcohol nuked my digestive tract, I was initially feeling on doing a fast, or at least a bone broth fast for the day. But last minute, I decided I didn't want to. Also, I snacked on some noodles which made me hungry, so fasting was out of the question for the day. But I did have some leftover rotisserie chicken of about 140 grams of chicken breast and 100 grams of thigh or dark meat. So that's at least most of my protein situation handled. Because I snacked on some noodles a while ago and I ate half of what I was originally eating from this plate, this is a visual representation of how much noodles I ate in the day. Going back to the main course, I got some chicken broth that, as a base broth, I added the chicken in, added some additional bone broth cubes as well that I make. Taste the seasoning, realized it needs some salt, decided to add fish sauce, fucked that up because I'm still getting used to filming this and I needed the shot. I realized I had fucked up and decided to desalinate it. So had I not fucked up, this would have been done by now, but I think this is a good culinary lesson in desalinization, or desalination, whatever it is. When you over season your food, unless you take out some food or some of the matter out, the amount of salt remains the same. So basically, you either throw it out or you ad-lib. Now you have two options. Take some broth out and replace with water, which is what I should have done, or keep adding unseasoned shit until it starts to taste more normal, which is what I did. I thought about adding some peas because they are at least 2 years old by now and unseasoned. And at first I thought I'll just use half, so I got an oyster shucker to pry away frozen stuff. Good use of this unitasker, by the way. It's a good prying tool for frozen stuff. That still didn't do it, so I went for my Hail Mary play and added some potatoes. I knew if I made them into quarters that I'd normally eat, it would take too long to cook and would mush out everything, so I went for medallions. This is not how I recommend cutting your potatoes. Don't do it. But the smaller and thinner mass should allow it to all cook evenly faster, so that's what happened. Hey guys, editor me had to chime in. Do not cut your fucking potatoes this way. I am an idiot, but a trained idiot who has had his fair share of cuts. Anyways, at this point it's just gonna be a waiting game until the potatoes cook. Everything else is cooked in here anyways, and yeah. Potatoes got cooked and I fried the extra chicken skins from the rotisserie chicken because why not? Also, it was gonna get soggy and yucky in the soup anyway, so all in all that was about 1100 calories. Obviously that's too small, so I knew what needed to be done. I ate some Magnum ice cream and now the final tally is 1399 calories, of which the breakdown is 96.4 grams of protein, 145 grams of carbs, and 48 grams of fat. Way too low than I needed to be, but this is what happens when you don't plan ahead, or when you do plan ahead but then chicken out of a fast. Either way, I wasn't working out today, so no worries. That was Tuesday. Next comes Wednesday. Today I want to go back to a staple I used to do back when I dabbled in keto, but this time with a little bit of rice. It's my go-to ground beef, lettuce, and scrambled eggs dish. While I'm preheating the pan, I'm pre-prepping my aromatics. Ground meat goes into the pan on medium to medium-low heat. This will cook the beef slowly and will allow the rest of the juices and fats to render out. While that's happening, I'll prep my garlic and onions, which is no rush since this process takes too damn long anyways, and once this is done, there will be more than enough time to focus on the ground beef and browning it. I like to chop my garlic into slices and my onions into strips, only to complicate this. These will be added to the ground beef once the juices and oils are rendered out, so they'll cook in those same juices. And while I have the time, I'm putting the eggs in a bowl for scrambling later, so I won't need to deal with the shells later on. When that time comes, I'm adding in the garlic and onions at the same time, and since we're out of chili flakes for now, I'm adding some Japanese chili powder, togarashi, for some heat, along with some soy sauce for the sodium. I also decided to add herbs along with the ground beef for some extra flavor on the back end. Once that's done, the ground beef component is basically done now, but for my keto days, this was when things went too greasy and I needed some way to cut through that fat. Enter the lettuce. I forgot how I ended up starting doing this, putting lettuce in a hot dish, but I did it and here we are. So to prep the lettuce, I just soaked it in water to get the dirt out and rehydrate it if it's been sitting on the fridge for a while. And to get the dirt out, yeah, I did say to get the dirt out. This time I'm not going to spin dry it, I'll just drain it and shake dry it. The extra water will help make a sauce to hold things together, at least that's how it should work. I'll tear the lettuce over the ground beef and then mix it. This will not take long, and this should only be at the final stage of cooking. Otherwise, the lettuce will get too wilted and yucky, and yeah. Should have gone with more lettuce, but that's what I had, so I also decided to add more salt, apparently, and just mix that in the bowl. I believe we were out of soy sauce by then. Put the bowl on the scale and so I can portion my rice properly. I believe I was targeting for about 160 grams of rice. While the entire ground beef, onions, garlic, and lettuce pile was about 600 grams. So it's a 4:1 ratio of meat to carbs, and it's the reverse of how these rice bowls usually go. Lastly, I dealt with the egg situation. I'm doing scrambled eggs, which I like kinda wet or soft, but I'm frying it in the grease and gunk from the ground beef. I just stir my eggs constantly to cook it, since this induction burner only heats at the very center. I also need new pans for cooking eggs in. The non-stick coating has been fucked by that burner. If you want your eggs kinda runny, they should be pulled right before your own preference, since the residual heat will cook the eggs. Wet scrambled eggs set into firmer, less wet scrambled eggs, while dry scrambled eggs tend to set into dry and tough, fluffy scrambled eggs. I didn't make the rules, it is what it is, and you need to practice this. As you can see with me trying to salvage the dried egg parts, this is why you want to take care of your own non-stick coating by not scratching it, scrubbing it too hard, or using too high heat to cook in. I shouldn't be guilty of any of this, especially when I cook on the gas stove, but my induction stove is its own thing, so I'll leave it at that for now. The point I'm trying to make here is that it's wasteful, that's good protein down the drain, and in another reality that could have been alive. And before I get soft on you guys, I just had to sample a bit since it's been more than 3 years since I made this for myself, and truth be told, I did kinda miss it. The flavors are very basic, what you see is what you get, cooked in plainly seasoned ground beef meets egg meets rice. The game changer here is the lettuce. It doesn't really add freshness that much to the dish, but it does add some kind of nuttiness and mild bitterness or balance that just ties the dish together. So that's pretty much my dinner and everything I ate for Wednesday. I did check my macros, and while I hovered at around 1600 to 1700 calories below my 1800 target, I did decide to have some midnight ice cream. This totaled to about 1971 calories for the day, broken down to 148.3 grams of protein, 45.7 grams of carbs, and 132.8 grams of fat. That was Wednesday. Next is Thursday. So I didn't want to think too hard about dinner again because it's a weeknight, and Thursdays is one of those days when I need to physically work at the office. So I ate some of that marinated chicken again. Yes, you will be seeing these a lot. I was hoping for the other chicken fajita seasoned one, but I guess this herb chicken one will do fine. I usually prepare 2 batches. But this time I wanted to switch the usual rice with some mashed potatoes because, little known fun fact, dryish chicken breast plus creamy mashed potatoes equals pretty fucking good. For the veggies, I was thinking broccoli. I had a half a bag open, so that's gonna go in, and I think that's gonna be dinner for me. Key points. Making mashed potatoes, for one, as depressing as that sounds, is pretty good for making a lower calorie version of it. You get a couple of potatoes that you're willing to eat, boil and mash them as usual, then add just enough butter and a splash of milk, and you are not gonna overdo it, man. 200 grams of raw potatoes will pretty much boil to the same cooked weight plus 20 grams of butter and about 50 grams or a splash of milk. That should be about 360 calories or 6.2 grams of protein, 40.5 grams of carbs, and 19.2 grams of fat. Regarding the chicken, this is the reason why you cut the chicken with kitchen shears and against the grain rather than smashing it and flattening out. It cooks faster, you get to cook bigger chunks that are juicier, and even if you microwave it and it kinda dries out, it doesn't. The chicken ends up about being 109 grams of protein, 3.3 grams of carbs, and 16.5 grams of fat, or 597 calories. Originally, this would weigh to about 400 grams of raw chicken, and it will cook down to about 320-350 grams, depending on the quality of chicken you get. Then I got the frozen broccoli, which is already kinda cooked, so there's no harm in thawing this, even though most recipes say it's alright to cook these frozen. Note that it will sweat the frozen water out, so I opted to season this with soy sauce, and I used some xanthan gum as a thickener. Hey guys, editor me again. What I meant to say was that because the broccoli is gonna sweat out some of that frozen water, it makes sense to season it with soy sauce in order to give it some color and depth, and then use that as a base to build the sauce with. Then once the sauce is liquidy enough, and naturally you're gonna reduce it and thicken it, you thicken it with the xanthan gum. As you can see, the induction stove wasn't really doing it, so I had to go analog and tip the pan to the side and use the regular flame burner. The broccoli is about 200 grams cooked, and that's about 85 calories. Again, moving forward, I'm not even gonna count the veggies in the macros, because essentially, because of the higher fiber content, it cancels out the carbs and thus the calories. It's science, bro. So unless they're starchy high carb ones like potatoes or squashes, veggies are pretty much nothing calorie wise. Do not quote me on this one. All in all, it's about 1200 calories with 122.7 grams of protein, 57.8 grams of carbs, and 56.5 grams of fat. But that's too low for a day's worth of calories. So unfortunately, I'm gonna have to eat some ice cream yet again. Also, I'm gonna eat a chocolate butternut donut from Dunkin' Donuts. I didn't buy this, it was in the office. It is what it is. Also, these things aren't that sweet, so we Gucci. That brings it to a total of about 1737.5 calories, or about 129.7 grams of protein, 116.8 grams of carbs, and 83.5 grams of fat. As you can see, carbs, when properly portioned, even if they're mashed potatoes, ice cream, and donut, aren't that bad, and in fact they're fairly reasonable. So rather than doing the 1990s fashion model technique of anorexia and bulimia, which I do not recommend, I do think that it's better to accommodate these things within reason rather than strictly ruling out these food groups entirely. That's just no way to live a life. And that was my Thursday. I was originally planning on doing this weekly, but it might end up being too long, so I'll just have to cut it for now and work out exactly how the posting frequency will be. Part 1 will have to be Mondays to Thursdays, and part 2 will be the weekends, Fridays to Sundays. Thanks for watching the video. If you want to see more, how this goes for me, or even if I somehow make it, click that subscribe and like the video. Again, I'm still figuring out the right format or frequency for uploading, or even if I can do this sustainably with my job. But this needs to happen. I'm doing it. Stay tuned if you want, and I shall see you on the next one. Peace.